Hello everyone, welcome to CommunityForce webinars. My name is Mehreen Mirza. As a lot of you are familiar with us, I have with me Christine Smith, and today we are very excited to present to you the training on the new version, that is the 11.0 version. So we are going to cover all the topics. Now, just a brief, while everyone else is still joining the webinar, just a brief of how you can access a few things on today's webinar. You can see there is a right-hand panel on your screen. Click on the orange box to collapse or open the panel. If you want more screen space, please click on that orange box with an arrow. We have also provided to you the handouts for today's webinar. It has all the helpful guides and resources that you can access. So click on that download icon and download the handouts for today. Also, you have the question panel. Please type in the question here and click on press enter or just send, and we will receive your questions and we will answer these questions during the Q&A break. Now, all of you have been put on mute during this webinar in order to avoid any confusion, but we will be answering your questions during your Q&A break. The duration of this webinar is 1 hour, and the topic is the 11.0 upgrade versions and features that you're going to see on this new version. Okay, we have with us Christine Smith. She is our webinar manager, the trainer for today's call. And of course, that's me, Mehreen Mirza, who will be assisting Christine and answering your questions during the Q&A break. I think we're good since all of you have joined. I'll just hand over the mic to Christine. All yours, Christine. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, everyone.
And thank you so much, Mehreen. Nice introduction there. So let's go ahead and just kind of go over a brief introduction of what we're going to be covering today. So this is the webinar for the new version software of 11.0. And with this software, we did make it a little bit easier for navigation. We did add a two-step verification process for logging in, as well as the ability to send SMS notifications via text message. And then also you'll see some different things in regards to maybe some of the system messages. We have some toast notifications we're using now. And then we're creating a Fund 360 management, as well as also an Application 360 management. And so applicants are going to now be able to receive updates straight on their phones. That's with that new SMS feature. That is something that you will have to have activated. And then our drag and drop capability, that is the ability to create questions using a drag and drop feature, which will make it a little bit less time consuming to create questions, a little quicker process if you'd like to use that. That is something that you have an option to use. And then again, like I said, the toast notifications, those are going to be those messages that pop up. We did kind of streamline that a little bit for you to make that a little bit easier for you. So who's going to benefit from today's webinar? Of course, this is going to be any of our administrators that are responsible for maintaining and using the site, because this does affect different aspects of the site. So any of our global admins, as well as maybe some of your report and department admins. So the topics we're going to cover are the new functionalities. So there's going to be something with the search page. We're going to talk about the two-factor authentication, how that works. And then the applicant's dashboard features. There's a few little things that your applicants are going to see that's a little different than what they've seen in the past. And then with the Manage Application Funding tab, we're going to talk about the fund listing page. There's some changes on that, the Fund 360, and then also how to get an Excel spreadsheet of your annual budget fiscal year report that's there in the fund setup. And then we're going to move on. We're going to take a break, and then after the break, we'll come back and we'll talk about the Application 360, managing your applicants screen. That has changed a little bit, how you access some of the items there, and then the drag and drop feature for creating applications, the SMS integration, how that works, and then the committee notification. There's a special little feature we want to show you with that. And then just kind of a brief little talk about what are those toast. When we talk about toast notifications, what are those? So let's go ahead and get started with our very first topic. So the first topic is the fund search page. So what is the fund search page? So that fund search page is that first page that your applicants come to, depending on in your site settings. If you have it set to go to the search listing or the application listing, that's the page that we're talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and go to our website here. And the search page for the applicants, if I'm already on my login page, I would just hit the search for funding opportunities. And then if you have, of course, the search features, the search page that is being affected is this page here. So this is the page that the applicants see when they're looking for all the funding available. So what's missing now, what's different, is there's no longer the details. So you won't see the details on this front screen, but what you do see is the beginning date and the deadline date of that specific application, as well as over here, they have, if you're using the cart feature, they'll be able to click on that and add it to their cart. If they want to apply to it, they can click the apply, or then also they can hit the view details here to see the detail screen, or they can come over here and hit the listing name, and then that will show them the details. That's where you can access that referral form if you're using the referral form functionality. And then they can also click apply to begin the application process. So that's the fund search page. The next item is two-factor authentication login. So what two-factor authentication login is it now requires, this is something you will have to have activated if you wish to use it. It's not a requirement, but if it's something you would like to use, you do need to contact CommunityForce by entering a support ticket and ask to have this activated. And what this does is it requires your applicants, when anyone logs into your site, they will receive a message that they need to go to their email, and that email will have a code, and it's an authentication code that they enter in order to be able to log in. And that email is sent to the email on their user account. So let's talk about how that works. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and go to the login screen. And so anytime someone logs into the site, so I'm going to go ahead and log in here and click login. As soon as they click the login, they get this two-factor authentication, and then it says please enter the authentication code that you received in your email. So I should have received an email, and then as soon as I get that email, I do get a message, and that message looks similar to this one here, and then it has that code that I need to enter in that box there. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the code, and then hit submit. And then as soon as I submit, it will then open up the screen that you've got set for your applicants to see as soon as they log in, and then that way it'll allow them access. So that's the two-factor authentication login. And like I said, that is something if you want to have activated on your site, then you can contact us with a support ticket and we can activate that for you. And then that is for everyone that logs in. They will have to do that every time they log in. Okay. So the next item we want to talk about is some things for the applicant. So when the applicant logs in, some things that have some new adjustments are going to be what they see on their screen when they go to the dashboard. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to open up an application form here as an applicant. And as soon as I open that up, you'll see we have something new. So here, instead of a drop-down menu, they now have buttons that they can click on to do specific functionalities that you've got activated. Of course, you may not have all of these if you're not using all these functionalities, but you can see here, this is how they can preview their application. If you have comments that you've tagged for them to see, they'll be able to see their comments. The collaboration feature, if you're using that, you'll see all those import, view matching funding opportunities. All of those buttons they're now buttons at the top of the screen. And then of course this here, if they would be where their submit button would be, the accept decline buttons. And then of course, if you're using text tabs, those are going to be down here at the bottom of the page. So that's some actionable items that have been added to the applicant's screen. And then the next item we want to discuss today is going to be printing an application form. So how do you print an application form? So printing an application form is very similar. It hasn't changed, but we did add a new functionality to that. And so here as an applicant, so I'm going to show you from the applicant, and then I'll log in and show you from the admin perspective how to print an application form. So this is the applicant's application form we're talking about. And here where you hit the preview, this is where they would normally print your application form. And so you're looking at the preview, and while looking in the preview, you're going to notice we have a collapse and expand. So if you're looking at this, you can click the titles here and collapse those items. But note that when you go to print this page or this application, it will only print the items that you have not collapsed. It'll show it just like this. So if it'll say personal information, it will be collapsed and will not be in that printout. So if you want to make sure you have everything in your printout, if you do collapse something, then go ahead and hit expand all before you print it, and then go ahead and hit the print, and then that'll allow you to select your printer and go forward with the print feature. That's the applicant's perspective. Now I'm going to go ahead and log in as an admin here. Let me log out and then of course show you from the admin's viewpoint. Okay, so as an admin, you're going to click on the application form. And then once you click on the application form, you'll go to Manage Applications. And then in the Manage Applicants, you'll click the name to preview it. And then here's that preview page, and you can see you have that option as well to expand or collapse the items. And then of course the print functionality is there to print. So that's how you print an application form where you can expand and you can remove sections you don't want to be in those forms. Okay. So now we want to talk about managing the application funding tab. So as you noticed, I was just in on the Manage Applicants, but now we're going to talk about that Manage Application Funding tab. Some of the fund list page has changed a little bit, so let's go to that. Let's go to the site and go to the Manage Application Funds. And when you click on the Manage Application Funds, the first screen you come to is that fund list page. So the fund list page is going to show you the funding opportunities. So that's the name of the fund, the application it's tied to, and then what type of fund it is. Is it a posting fund? So the posting fund is the application, the fund that's tied to the application that the applicant's applying to. So a posting fund should always have an application name tied to it when it's active. And then of course, whether it's published or not, you'll see that. You'll be able to click this history icon to see the history. And then also the red X will delete. And remember, if you delete, it's gone for good. So you want to use caution when using that delete functionality. So that's the fund list page. And then of course, if it's an assigned fund, it'll show assigned, and then you'll know that that's assigned to a specific application. And so that kind of gives you a nice overview on that fund listing page of what's a posting fund versus what's an assigned fund. Now with the fund listing, we did add a functionality called Fund 360. And what this does is it allows you to click on a fund and see the details. So you're going to be able to see details in regards to the fund itself, submissions to that, the awards, the automated scoring, and the award letters. If I go back to the site here, so if I select a fund here, so I'm going to select this funding opportunity. This is a fund that applicants are applying to. This is a one-to-one application. So that means it's one fund tied to its own application, and it's not, it's just that one-to-one. There's only one funding source funding this application. And so when I come in here, I'll be able to see the details page. So this is the details of that fund. And of course, if I want to edit any of the details, I can just come over here and hit the edit, and then that'll open up the screen to be able to make any adjustments to that fund that I wish to make. And then I can always make my adjustments and then always make sure and hit save and exit if you make any changes. I'll click on it again here for the Fund 360. I'll also be able to see the applicants that applied to this application form. So when I first click on it, it will take me to the graph, but if I want details, I can always click here and see the details of that specific application. And I'm just going to go back one more here. So I do want to select a different fund here that has details. I want to go ahead and get this one right here. And so of course, if we hit the Manage Applicants, and then we can click here, we can drill down, and then we can see all the applicants that are applying to that application form. So this is per application. And then also this is a one-to-one, so this is where I'm going to be doing the awarding. So I can click on the awards for this specific fund and see the details of the award. If I just wanted to see this academic year, then I can do the academic year, or I can do all if there's other academic years and see the additional academic years. But this will tell me who were the applicants that were awarded this funding, and then what application was used to award them, as well as the amount that they're awarded. So this is just the only academic year I have for this specific funding source. So I can see, what applicant was awarded, and we'll know who was awarded in that. Now this is just view functionality, so you can't really work the applicants here. It's more of a view functionality so that you can see the details without having to go back and forth between screens. This allows you to kind of see a nice 360 overview of what happened with that funding. And then also we have automated scorings. If there's automated scorings, it'll show the automated scorings, as well as thank you letters that have been sent out on that specific applicants, that specific fund. So that's on a one-to-one application. And then I'm just going to quickly go back. Now you'll notice what I'm doing to go back is I do need to go to the fund details to get back to be able to go to that fund list. And now as soon as I hit the fund details, I then can come here and hit the fund list, and that will take me back. But before I do so, I do want to show you that on this fund details, you also have the ability to copy that grant link and that post acceptance link. You don't need to click on the edit to go grab those. You just come here, and then you can copy these links. And then of course, if you're using those to send to your applicants or to put on your web page, then you can do so, and that'll be a direct access to the specific application. So now I'm going to go back to the fund list. And then of course on a one-to-many, you're looking at the individual funds. So when I click on this individual fund, I'll be able to click on that fund name and then get the details as well as the awards that were awarded for that specific funding source, and be able to see the awards that were done and what application form was used to apply to. So this one's an example of multiple academic years. And then of course here I can see the applications, and then I can see out of those applications what was awarded to them in each individual application and academic year. A nice overview of the entire process for that funding source. And then also you'll notice here, you'll be able to see the listing, since this is this is a fund that's been in multiple applications. So of course I'll be able to see all the different applications that we have attached this funding source to over the period of it being active. And that'll give you a nice little picture of that as well. Now another thing I want to show you is the budget detail report. So the annual budget fiscal year on a fund, when you're adding those to the funding source, a lot of times we do it in a one-to-many. We're doing it within the application where you're managing those attached funding sources. But here on this screen, this is from the Manage Funding screen. You have where you can get this annual budget fiscal year, and this will give you all the different fiscal years and then the amount that was allocated, what was awarded, and the amount that was available, and that you can export this specific report to Excel to give you a nice overview report of what's happening with that funding. So if I go back to the site here, and to access that screen here in the fund details, so I'm in that Manage Application Funds. I've clicked on the fund name. I'm here in fund details now. So I went to that fund list, clicked on the fund name, and now if I click the edit, and then I come over here and click this little green icon here, this little green one right here next to annual budget academic year. This is where you would normally enter that figure, and then this is where you can do it for multiple years. So if I click that, it will give me this report and give me a nice history of the academic year. And then you can see here, I can kind of see a real good picture of what did we allocate for that period, what was the amounts that we awarded for that period, and then what was remaining at the end of that fiscal period. And then I can just click Export to Excel, and then it'll give me my Excel on my local computer, and then you'll have that if you want to send it, have like a nice overview report to give to the rest of your team members. You now have that capability to get that quickly for that funding source. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here and see if we have any questions. I did see a few questions come in. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Maureen, and she can go ahead and address any questions. Maureen, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Christine. I mean, yes, we do have quite a lot of questions. Let's start with the handouts. If any of you are facing trouble, I have uploaded the handouts once again. So please click on that PDF option to get the access to the handouts. So if you see 2, it's just that some of us were not able to access that. All right. The next one is, we have a few questions about the can users also get a text notification for the two-factor authentication? Yes, the users do get a notification in their phone with the code that they'll have to enter. So they are getting a text notification for the two-factor authentication. Another question is, so is the two-factor authentication required? All right, this is something that Jonna, I believe you're going to have a look at it with your team. Then I have answered some of the questions in the comments. So if I don't pick your question, please don't worry. I'm still answering some of the questions. Can responses be imported? So this was a question related to the features, the functionalities that you're seeing on the applicant dashboard. The question is, can responses be imported from applications with deadlines that have passed, or can they only be imported from active applications? Trisha, I have already answered your question, but for the rest of the audience, it does not matter if the application is live or the deadline date has passed. Any pre-existing applications, as long as the XML names match, the applicants have the ability to import the answers onto the new applications. All right. Then there is another question that says, when does the version 11.0 go live? Well, the 11.0 is already live. Just to make a few things clear to everyone, we are upgrading your sites in batches. All right. And when it's your turn, we will inform you via email. So this session is important because when your site goes to the 11.0 version, you know what changes you can anticipate. So Marilee, we'll keep you updated. Jonna, I think I've answered your question, but okay, Marilee, we'll look into that, but this webinar is recorded and you'll receive a copy of the same tomorrow. at about 1 o'clock. So you can always go into the webinar and have a look at it. Also, we'll be uploading it to YouTube. We'll be sharing the links in the future with all of our clients. Okay, now another question, is the fund type a new feature? I don't see that as an area on our current site. Maybe I missed that. Okay, not a problem, Joanna. Well, as you're already familiar, some of our clients have a one-to-one application process. Some of us have one-to-many application process, while some of our clients have both one-to-one and one-to-many applications. And these funds, when they are assigned, some of the funds are just assigned for as a posting fund. And there was a little confusion, and some of these funds are assigned from the back end as assigned funds to set up the fund criteria. The reason we've added it as a label here is for you to distinguish between these two different types of funds. The rest of the questions I will continue answering where we don't have a lot of time, but I'll turn it back to you, Christine, while I continue answering questions for the team. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay, and thank you too, Maureen. And I do just want to clarify, I think on that first, that two-factor authentication, I think what they're asking is, can they get a text message? So with the two-factor authentication, that only goes to their email. It doesn't, it's not a text message like
Oh,
the
right,
SMS
right.
integration. It's
Sorry,
just
Christine.
the message that goes, it's an email that gets sent to them because it's based on email only. It's not based on their phone number.
Sorry, Christine. Yeah,
That's okay. I'll just
my
clarify
apologies,
that.
everyone.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started then. So that was the fund information that we just talked about, pretty much what's going on with the Fund 360. So now we're going to go to the applicant side, the application side, I mean, not the applicant side, the application side, and talk a little bit about what's changed on the application side, like for the admin, what's some of the differences there on the application 360. So with the application, the Manage Applicant screen, there is a little bit of a difference here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the home screen here. And when I select an application form, I'm going to click this one here. With the application 360, there's some navigation features. And so when you first click on that application, you come in here, you're going to see here's some tabs at the top. I'm just going to kind of overview what you see in each tab. So when you first come here, you're going to see this application graph. So we're in the Manage Applications tab. You're going to see the application graph. And then you're going to see Manage Applicants, where you can manage your applicants. You're going to see the section release. You're going to see Manage Applicant Referrals, and then you're going to see the Manage Renewal Applicants. Of course, we're not going into the details of what all of these are because those are in other videos of what those functionalities are, but you can just see what's under the Manage Applicants tab. And now we're going to go to the Evaluations tab. And then under the Evaluations tab, that's all the functionality in regards to setting up your review process as well as monitoring your review process. So that's where the reviewer task is going to be. That's where you're going to manage automated scoring. You're going to manage committees. You're going to have your assignments to committees. You're going to be able to review the status and review the results. And what's nice about these individual tabs is if you have if you have department admins and you want to control access, or you want to create an individual and you only want to give that person access to the evaluation screen, you now have the capability to be able to do that. You can just give them access to that entire tab. You don't have to do like before where you had to go when you're trying to give someone access in their user profile and go in and try to say, okay, I want them to have manage applicants, but I don't want them to have the full functionality. Now you can select these tabs, and now you can they can be assigned different functionality easier. And then here under Manage Reports, this is the Reports tab. So this is where your ad hoc reports are. If there's any queries we've built for you, those are going to be located here. Your automated scoring report is located here. Post-accepted sections, that Manage Post-accepted section status reports located here. And then also your section status report you're going to see here as well. And then the awarding, under the awards tab, you're going to see if you have a one-to-one application or a one-to-many application, you're going to see the two different functionalities we have. Of course, one-to-one and one-to-many, some of our one-to-one do use the multiple fund for their awarding because of the way they award. But of course, if you're a one-to-one, more than likely you're going to do the Manage Awards one fund. And then if you're a one-to-many process, you're going to be doing the Manage Awards multiple funds. But you'll see both of those on the screen here. And then notifications, that's everything in regards to notifying your applicants. So that's where the notification center is located. That's where you're going to find your application invitation to be able to invite them and send that notification out to them to invite them to a private application if you're using that functionality. And then the managed donor thank you letters, this is where you would go in and send those thank you letters to your donors. And remember, this is the donor thank you letter functionality. That's the thank you letters that you're using, that is using that question type of thank you letter. You're building that question, tying it to a specific funding source, and you're using this functionality to send those thank you letters to the donors. That's the thank you letter. Anytime you see thank you letters on our site, like in the Managed Application Fund, those are the thank you letters that are showing. Not thank you letters that you created a question and they're filling out an essay box, but it's the question that is you created using the question type thank you letter. That's the thank you letters that you're seeing. Okay. And then also application settings. This is all the build functionality, all the things that you need to build out a brand new application form. So that's where you're going to have sections and questions. That's where you're going to see the general information, your pre-qualification questions, your request instructions, your submit application message, all your text tabs, all 5 of those. If you have collaborator and proxy instructions activated, you're going to see that here. Where you assign your funds. If you have a one-to-many process, you need to assign those funds, and then also you need to create the criteria for those funds. And then a managed parent-child application process. There's a few of you maybe on today's call that are using that, so that's where that's now located. And then manage application indicators. If you have that on your site, we have 1 or 2 of our clients that use that. That's where that's located as well, to be able to manage those indicators. So that is the application 360. That's all the items, the navigation for that, and how you get to those specific functionalities. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is the Manage Applications Summary View and Edit options. So this is in that Manage Applications tab. And so I'm going to click on this. And to get to that, of course, I'll go back so you know where I'm at. If you click the home page, and then you go into the application, then of course we have the Manage Applications tab that's clicked. And then you can access the managed applicants by either, like since we're here in the graph, you can come down here if you want to see all of them, or if you just want to see, maybe what's pending or selected, you can click on those numbers. There are drilled down. You can click on that number and that will take you to the manage applicant screen, or you can click on the manage applicants, and of course that will take you there as well. So on this screen, we wanted to add a few more functions across the way that you could see better. So we did make some adjustments. So now when you see this applicant name, when you click on the applicant name, it's going to give you a summary of their application form. It's going to take you to that summary page to where you can see a summary of their entire application. So this is just, if you just need to view and see what's going on, you want to see what's there, then you do have the ability. If you want to maybe get their documents, you don't have to go all the way into the application form. You can just come here. You can grab the documents, get copies of it. You can see it all without having to go to their dashboard. But if you want to go to their dashboard, that's considered making an edit. So you're wanting to look at their dashboard, you want to edit their dashboard, then you want to go over here to this little pencil icon. This is an edit icon. And so if you click this edit icon here, it will take you to their dashboard. And then of course, this is how you get to the dashboard. Again, from here, you can preview the application. And then of course, if you want to make an adjustment or get to your staff section, then you can do so as well and work on that. So that's how you view applicants from the Manage Applicant screen. as soon as we go back here. Also, you'll see here this little icon here. This is how you see their scores. If you have scores and they've been scored, you can get to the score sheet from this screen by clicking on that, and then that will show you the different scores that they've gotten from the different reviewers. And so that is it with the Manage Application Summary View and Edit options, how to get to those from the Manage Application screen. And now we want to talk about the drag and drop feature. So the drag and drop feature is a nice functionality that allows you to create questions, and it's a quick access to be able to do that. You can just quickly select a question type, pull it in, drop it, and then create your question that way. So to do that, it's going to be in the application settings. So again, from the home page, I selected that application form on that home page, and now I'm coming here to application settings. And then on the application settings, in order to get to the drag and drop functionality, it's for building questions. So you do need to select the section you want to build the question in. So let's say I'm building out my essay section and I'm adding my questions. So of course, before you can still do this, you just click add a question and you start building your question. But with the drag and drop feature, you'll notice I have a button here, drag and drop questions. When I click on that drag and drop, it's going to open a little bit of a different screen. It's going to show me the questions that are there. And then over here in the right-hand pane, all the different question types. So remember, when you build a question, you tell the system what kind of question you want this to be. So you come over here and you'll be able to see all the different question types. And so you just kind of come over here and I'm going to I want to add another essay. So I'm going to add an essay box. So I'm going to select it by hovering over it and then clicking the left button on my mouse and holding it down. And then I'm just going to come over here and then I can just plug it in, drop it down. As soon as I drop it down, it's there. The system knows I'm building an essay box. So then what I do is I just hit this drop down arrow, and then this is where I build the question for them to see. Okay, and then they type it. And then of course, then the rest of this, you would build like you would a question normally. It's just you don't have to tell the system what type of question it is. It's going to automatically know what type of question it is. It's going to give you what you need to be able to build that. And then of course, you just go ahead and create it like you do with the rest of the build functionality. And then once you're done creating it here, it's very important that you remember to hit the submit button. If you do not hit the submit button, it will not create this question. So you do want to hit submit. And then we're going to get that message that pops up that says it's been created successfully, so we know we're good. And then just come over here and hit save. And then it'll be saved on that specific section. And then of course, then you have where you're building that question. And so that's the drag and drop feature and how you build those. So the most important is select the type, drop it in, make sure you hit the submit, and then after you hit the submit, hit the save. That's the most important elements. And of course, when you're done with this, you can just go ahead and hit exit, and then it'll take us back to the screen. And then if you wanted to do some other things like hide from the reviewer, you forgot to do that, you still can do that from this screen. Okay, now we want to talk about the SMS integration. So the SMS integration allows you to send a message to your applicant via an SMS text message. And so this does require that you have an account with like Twilio or Zapier. And this is something that if you do want to have activated, you will need to contact us. And you can do so by entering a support ticket. Of course, you can always call the marketing team as well, and we can assist you with setting this up. And in order to set this up, you will need to have the cell phone numbers for your applicants. And so if you are already a user, you will need to contact your applicants and get those numbers from them. And then once you receive their numbers, make sure that you do add them to the administration tab. And make sure you add them to the set up user accounts. and make sure you add the number. And when you add the number, you're going to want to make sure and add that number. Let's see if I can grab somebody here by clicking the edit. You want to make sure and put it in the cell phone field. That's where that phone number needs to go. It needs to go into that cell phone field. And then once you enter that cell phone number, then go ahead and hit save and exit and then go on to your next one. So you do have to gather those because it will not send a message to an applicant if there is not a valid number set up for them. Now, once it's activated, anytime someone comes in to the site and they log into the site or create a new account on the site, not log in, but when they create a new account, any new account, they'll have a cell phone field available to enter that information. So as soon as that's activated, this field will now be on their login screen, and they can enter that cell phone there. And that's how you can capture it. Now, it's not a required field because they may not want to give that to you, but just know that if they don't give you the cell phone number, you will not be able to send a message to them, but that's their choice. That's in the login screen. And then once everything's set up for the SMS integration, then all you need to do to send a message to an applicant. So if I wanted to send a message to an applicant, I can just come here, click on my application form, go to my applicant screen, and I have my applicant. I can come here. You can select multiple or just one. And then once you select them, you come over here and you'll have a button that says notify via SMS. You select that, and then it'll open up the field. You'll be able to see their name. If they have a phone number, it'll have a phone number tied directly to them. And then, of course, you enter the message, hit send now. I'm just going to do test, hit send now, and it'll send that message to them via text if they have the capability to receive the SMS functionality. Okay, so that is the SMS integration. And then another feature we want to show you is with the committee notification. So the committee notification feature allows you to send a notification to your entire committee, not just one committee member, but to the entire committee. So this is helpful when all of your assignments have been made and you need to send a message to the entire committee. You don't have to go into the assignments to committees, find their name in that listing of everybody you've assigned, and make sure you don't select them more than once. This is going to allow you to send a message to the entire committee, letting the entire committee know that maybe their assignments are ready for their review. And that's located, if we go back to the site here, that's located from the home page. I selected the application form. Now I'm going to go over here to the evaluations tab. Under the evaluations tab, if I expand that, where you create your committees, that manage committees screen, you're going to see this is where you create your committee and you add all the committee members to that committee. If you click that committee and you hit notify, it's going to send a message to everyone on that committee that you've created. And then you can create the message, make sure you put the fields in so it addresses it to them, and then click send, and then that will go out to all of those committee members for that specific function that you want to send it to. Now also in the notification center, if you have SMS notify status activated, once that message is sent to your applicants, it'll show there in the SMS notify status. And then also here under notify status, the committee notifications will show. The committee notifications will show here. You'll be able to see what message that you sent to the entire committee. So if you send it to the entire committee, it's going to have all of them listed as individual listings. And that's how you'll know, yes, it did go out. That's how you can send a message to your entire committee. And then the last thing we want to talk about is toast notification messages. So what toast notification messages are, you might have seen a couple of them pop up. Those are those system messages. We call them toast because they just kind of give you like a little toast, like here you go, and it disappears. Before, I think like a lot of times when you would delete, you would get the confirmation message, and you would say yes to that, and then you would get another message that you had to reply to. Well, these now, what it does is if it doesn't require any interaction, it's just kind of a nice little toast message to let you know that something's happened, it's done, it's a done deal. Then you'll just get this nice little message that looks like this one. This one has actually a system message. If I wanted to change it, I could go to my system messages, put in the 241 and make an update to this verbiage. But here is what it looks like. It says the record has been updated, and then I don't need to do any further action. So like, for instance, let me just see if I can get one to work for you here. And the question that I built in my one-to-many, let me go back here to my one-to-many application. I have a question I want to delete in my essays. So I want to delete this question I just created. I can select it, hit my delete, I get my confirmation. Am I sure? I say yes, and then that's all I need to do. It pops up, tells me it's done, and then it disappears. So that's the toast notification. So that's all the changes that we're going over right now with the 11.0 new release. And like Maureen's, will give you instructions here at the end as to how they're releasing that. I think she did mention it a little bit, and then we'll go forward from there. So I hope you've enjoyed today's session. I'll turn it over to Maureen for some of the final questions to address.
Yes, Christine, thank you so much. So firstly, before I proceed with the questions, let me tell you once again that your sites will be upgraded hopefully by the end of the first quarter of 2023. We will send you emails when it's your site that has to be upgraded. These upgrades happen during inactive hours. So at any point, if you're concerned that you have live applications currently open for your applicants, your review process is going on, or your awarding process is going on, do not worry. We do this during inactive time, so none of your users get affected. So don't worry about it. We'll keep you notified, and the upgrades happen during inactive hours. If you still have any concerns, do reach out to us, and we'll take care of it. All right. Also, we have provided you with the handouts. Any questions related to these, please send us your email. You want to open a ticket with us, have a question on the 11.0, please reach out to us. Also, we have the client success team, clientsuccess@communityforce.com. Reach out to us on the email address. One of our team members will get back to you with the answers. Let's go to the questions. If anyone else has any questions related to the upgrade, please let me know. Okay. I have answered most of the questions through while typing in, but let me pick some of the questions that I could not answer. So there is a question that says, I'm looking at a current scholarship application one-to-many. I have manage applications, manage reports, and application settings. Do I have to do something to update your applications to show the new options? Well, here's the thing, Pamela, your site clearly has not been upgraded yet. All right. So we'll keep you informed. And when it is your turn for your site to get upgraded, we'll give you a date as well. So currently your site is still on the 10.5 version. Christine, if you can just show them how our clients can see the version on their site, that would be really helpful. So you see, now you can see the 11.0. Once your site, please log out of your site first. And there you should be able to see the current version that your site is on. All right. Thank you so much, Christine. So Pamela, I hope I have answered your question. And how will we know when our site is scheduled for the upgrade? So Jennifer, like I said, you will be sent an email specifying the date and a time frame on which your site will be upgraded. We'll keep you informed on that. All right. Another one is okay. Okay. So when will these changes to the grant site take place? So there is no difference between grant and scholarship sites, Lisa. We will be upgrading all sites regardless of what platform you're using. If your site is in queue, if it is part of that next batch of upgrades, it will get upgraded. It looks like some of the features have to be updated, but not all. Yes, Nicole. For example, SMS notification, the SMS integration, as Christine has mentioned, that will require an integration with Twilio or Zapier. there will be a cost associated with it. So you're not going to have that on all of your sites when we upgrade your sites. It's optional. There will be a cost, and if you're ready, please reach out to us. We'll work through with your team and get that enabled. The next one is the two-factor authentication. By default, your site will have the two-factor authentication enabled, but as Christine has showed, you can always disable it from the admin side as well. If you still are unable to do that by yourself, open a ticket with us on Zendesk, reach out to me, reach out to client success, and we'll get that done for you. All right. When can we expect these updates to be added to the quick reference guides videos? So you had a question, Christine, you wanted to provide an explanation? Sorry. Okay. So Emiko, when can we expect the update? So you're talking about quick reference guides. Currently, there is some available on the handouts. Our team is constantly working on adding new help guides. Also, Christine, she is the one who's going to be working on the training videos. We'll have those uploaded to Zendesk, and they should all be available to you really soon. We'll keep you informed as well. All right. So I believe I have answered some of the questions related to SMS as well. We still have some time. Okay, I think I have answered that question. Sorry, I'm just rolling back to my original questions. Okay. All right, view comments. I believe I have answered your questions. And is the expanding and collapsing feature available for reviewers? Well, so Christine has showed there is an expand and collapse on the sections. So that is also available on the reviewer side. Don't worry about it. Your reviewers will also be able to collapse and expand the panels on sections on the applicant's summary. Will this webinar be repeated? We'll see about that, Marily, but for now, I've already mentioned that we will be recording this. This is on record, and you should get the recording. Fund type, I've already answered that question. Mario's question I've answered. Joanna's question I have answered. Okay. I think I have answered all of the questions, and the rest I've typed in the answers. If I have missed any, okay. So Destiny, we'll take care of your site. We'll get that upgraded. If you want your sites to get upgraded earlier, do reach out to us. We'll put on your site on queue, and we'll have your site upgraded as well. Okay, Nicole, I've answered your question. I think I've answered almost all of the questions. Thank you so much, Jonna. I'll look into your cycle. Applicants can update their profile by entering the mobile number. No, Daniel. Unfortunately, the phone number field has to be updated by the admin. So that cannot be done by the applicant by clicking on edit profile. We'll be talking to our team about that. I think I've covered all of the questions, unless Christine, I'm missing something and you can point out some of the questions and answer them. I have answered all of the questions.
Very good. Thank you so much, Maureen. And yeah, I did answer. Yeah, I answered Daniel's too. So yes, that is something we're looking into. Okay. And so yeah, so thank you everyone for attending. I think that's the end of our session for now. And then like Maureen said, you have the handout. And then also on Zendesk, anyone who's attending today, we're going to have the video. We'll eventually get this video put out on Zendesk as well as release notes so that you all have information in regards to the new functionalities. So that does, again, of course, we always try to encourage you to use the handout. And we do have the click here that will take you to different functionalities that will be available in the resources. And so again, we thank you for attending today's session. And if you have any questions on anything, please feel free to reach out to our support team by entering it as support ticket on Zendesk. And then of course, if there's anything like maybe you want to have some more details about maybe if it's something that you want to have with your process, feel free to enter a support ticket and ask for a review by a process support specialist. Or you can also click on our site I guess it doesn't look like we got it activated here, but if you enter the support ticket, you can go ahead and ask for a process review, and one of our client support specialists will reach out to you to set up a time to do that. As of right now, our Calendly is offline, and so once we have that, then you can be able to, of course, always use that click here. Even if you have another handout from another session that takes you to our Calendly, you can do that as well. So thank you so much for your time. And again, I hope you enjoy these new functionalities, and everyone have a good year. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.